Following an eventful SummerSlam, WWE Raw was a decent show. It had some strong points, but there were a few glaring negatives. With all of the surprises on Saturday's pay-per-view happening on the SmackDown side of things, the Red brand needs a boost. A few seeds have been planted for some interesting feuds on WWE Raw, with some much more explosive than others this week. Hopefully, there is an upturn in the storytelling department too. There has been some promise in that regard. Even Logan Paul's appearance on WWE Raw led to a major moment. Let's take a look at the main positives and negatives of the post-SummerSlam edition of WWE Raw. Are you excited about the direction the Red brand is headed towards? Be sure to give us your thoughts in the comments. Number 3, best and worst. A bad WWE Raw habit leads to an interesting prospect. WWE Raw started with Bobby Lashley and MVP reacting to the events from SummerSlam. Once Damian Priest interrupted the Almighty, the segment quickly snowballed into a tag team match. In one of WWE Raw's most annoying tropes, interference in Priest and Lashley's match led to a tag team match. The WWE Champion walked out on Sheamus, who was defeated by the United States Champion and Drew McIntyre. After the match, the two seemed to tease further association. This may lead to an extended alliance, or perhaps McIntyre is entering the United States Championship scene. If the latter is the case, the title would instantly feel a lot bigger. Priest and McIntyre could have some excellent matches against one another. Their story is an intriguing one, wherever it is headed. While this potential story began because of WWE Raw's cliched run-in spot, there is hope that it will come good. Hopefully, it does lead to something. Number 2, best. RK Bro's WWE Raw Tag Title reign begins well. Riddle had a grand celebration planned for his and Randy Orton's WWE Raw Tag Team Championship victory. The two of them posed with their titles as pyro went off. The King of Brothers then gifted Orton his very own scooter. That came in handy a while later, as the Viper used the scooter to attack Omos at ringside. Meanwhile, Riddle defeated AJ Styles in a fun main event for WWE Raw. This continues the role RK Bro has been on, as the fascinating duo look to embark on a successful title reign. Number 2, worst. What is Carrion Kross wearing? One night after losing his NXT Championship to Samoa Joe, Carrion Kross got an addition to his attire. He got a new mask, which isn't quite terrible, but it was coupled with diagonal suspenders. A look like this worked in the 1980s, but Kross simply looks ridiculous now. It overshadowed his dominant win over Ricochet on WWE Raw. The former NXT champion needs other changes to truly work on the main roster. Following weeks of little to no reaction on the show, the biggest one is Scarlett's addition to his act. Number 1, best. The Miz gets serious again. Who would have thought Logan Paul's appearance on WWE Raw would eventually lead to The Miz turning on John Morrison? While the Moist TV segment featuring the internet celebrity was all over the place, Miz and Morrison turned things around. Following his defeat to Xavier Woods on WWE Raw, the A-lister viciously beat his best friend down. This was a timely reminder of how good The Miz can be as a top heel. He showed passion and intensity reminiscent of his time as Intercontinental Champion from 2016 to 2018. Following the breakup feud with John Morrison, a serious Miz could be a force to be reckoned with in the upper mid-card of WWE Raw or SmackDown. Number 1, worst. Is Alexa Bliss the next WWE Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair and the women's title? A love-hate relationship, if there ever was one. Every time the Queen wins a title, she loses it within a few days or weeks. Her current reign may suffer a similar fate. Charlotte cut a great promo one night after winning the WWE Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam, but was interrupted by Alexa Bliss. This confrontation has possibly telegraphed a title change, as Bliss has the backing of her evil doll. Despite the character not working at all, Alexa Bliss has tried her best throughout. A feud against Charlotte Flair, in which she becomes WWE Raw Women's Champion with the help of Lily, may not help change that, but it would help increase the star power in the title scene. WWE is reportedly planning a story twist for Baron Corbin on this upcoming week's SmackDown. WWE has filmed several videos with Corbin at Las Vegas this past weekend, which will be used on WWE television soon. PW Insider has reported that Baron Corbin's social media storyline will be used on the SmackDown after SummerSlam, which will end with a story twist. We are told the Baron Corbin Las Vegas deal will be a WWE social media storyline that will play out all week before SmackDown, at which point there will be some sort of story twist. WWE apparently filmed a lot of content with Corbin in Vegas over the weekend. As we reported last night, there were plans at one point to film content with illusionist Chris Angel in Vegas, but no word as to whether it was part of this, read the PW Insider report. Baron Corbin is currently portraying a character who has lost all his wealth and is struggling to make ends meet. However, it seems that his luck has changed at Las Vegas as per his social media. Corbin seems to have hit the jackpot in Las Vegas and is now living at large in Sin City. Charlotte Flair recently opened up about her relationship with Becky Lynch and revealed why they are not as close as they were before. The two new women's champions on Raw and SmackDown, Flair and Lynch, were once the best of friends. They traveled the road together and showcased their bond on social media. The duo even cried when they were drafted to separate brands during the WWE draft in 2016. But Lynch and Flair are not quite as close anymore. Flair took part in a live taping of Renee Paquette's Oral Sessions podcast in front of an audience in Las Vegas before SummerSlam. In one highlight, the Queen explained how she and the man drifted apart due to their careers and personal lives going in different directions. Flair noted that Lynch is an inspiration to her because she is balancing her responsibilities as a mom and a star for WWE. The Queen then stated that their relationship is currently built on mutual respect. "That's our relationship," said Flair. "There's just so much respect there. Because I know what it takes to be in her spot and she knows what it takes to be in my spot. So no, are we driving around calling each other Thelma and Louise and eating omelets anymore? No, but we both have grown up. Honestly, I don't think anything happened," Flair continued. "I really think that her and I depended so much on each other as best friends, and it was easy. She was my ride or die, my go-to, and, just needed to happen. I met Andrade, she met Seth. Her career took off." Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch's real-life friendship laid the groundwork for a feud between the two in 2018. The man turned heel on the Queen at WWE SummerSlam and won her SmackDown Women's Championship at Hell in a Cell 4 weeks later. Becky Lynch eventually came out on top during their rivalry by winning a last woman standing match at Evolution. She even eliminated Flair to win the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble match. Furthermore, the two stars main event WrestleMania 35 together alongside Ronda Rousey. Flair and Lynch could potentially renew their rivalry at this year's Survivor Series if WWE keeps the champion versus champion concept. Becky Lynch made her triumphant return from her pregnancy at SummerSlam and instantly won the SmackDown Women's Championship. Meanwhile, Flair won the Raw Women's Championship that same night. What do you think about Flair's comments? Would you want to see her face Becky Lynch again? Sound off below. Becky Lynch requested WWE to turn her heel, according to the latest reports. After a 15-month hiatus, the man finally made her long-awaited return to WWE at SummerSlam, where she scored a shocking victory against Bianca Belair to capture the SmackDown Women's Championship in under 30 seconds. According to earlier reports, it was said that the Irish superstar would be positioned as a heel going forward, and she will officially be a part of the SmackDown brand. WWE initially had plans for Lynch to return in October, but Sasha Banks' absence changed the plans. The Boss was supposed to challenge Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title on Saturday night, but she was removed from the bout due to not being cleared to compete. PWInsider.com has confirmed with multiple WWE sources that Becky Lynch is now a heel. Johnson said, "Yes, you heard that correctly. We are told that going forward, Lynch will be positioned as the top heel on SmackDown, initially feuding with Bianca Belair." In an update from Dave Meltzer of F4W Online, Becky Lynch's heel turn was something that she herself requested, which the company apparently granted. This is only the second time that she will portray a villain on the main roster. When she started off the man gimmick, Lynch worked as a heel. However, she was so over with the fans that WWE was left with no choice but to make her face again. It will be interesting to see how the WWE Universe will react to the man being a heel again. Some of those present on this week's Raw reportedly booed Lynch's SummerSlam return vignette when it was played on screen. Becky Lynch, winning the SmackDown Women's Championship in a matter of a few seconds, wasn't fully accepted by fans and critics. As a heel though, she could use that to her advantage to generate heat. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, the decision to have her squash the EST of WWE to capture the title was made by Vince McMahon. We are told it was 100% a Vince McMahon call and the title switch to Lynch was specifically to make her return even more spectacular, said Johnson. It should be noted that the quick nature of the match, 27 seconds, was seen by a number of fans as taking the wind out of the sails of Bianca Belair, but we are told that even though some in the company expressed that concern, the idea was that the moment was about Lynch per Vince McMahon's vision of the PPV. Becky Lynch will most likely begin a new feud with Belair for the title. The two superstars haven't feuded with each other on the main roster before, so this will be a fresh rivalry that will help elevate the SmackDown Women's division. Do you think it's a smart move by WWE to turn Becky Lynch heel? Sound off in the comments section.